Welcome to this predicted paper from onmaths. This paper represents the best guess for the upcoming exams. Please use this paper in addition to your other revision. You can complete a unique version of this paper by going to our onmaths site. Onmaths is full of free content to help you prepare for your exams, such as topic-based papers, demon questions, and mini mocks. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing. Enjoy! For us to create the smallest number, we need to pick the smallest digits at the start of the number. So the smallest digit is 3, then the next smallest digit is 4, next smallest digit is 5, then the next smallest digit is 8. But it wants it to be an odd number, and this is an even number. So we have to move that 8 forward one and have that 5 at the end. So the smallest odd number is 3,485. So with this question, we need to first of all count how many sides this polygon has. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's 10 sides. And we just need to know that a 10-sided shape is a decagon. Now we are expected to know all of the names of shapes between 3 and 10 sides, so if you don't know them already, just sit down and learn them. So we need to first of all understand what a cube number is. So a cube number is the answer to when you get 3 integers or whole numbers and we multiply them by themselves 3 times. So 1 times 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, 3 times 3 times 3 is 27, 4 times 4 times 4 is 64, and 5 times 5 times 5 is 125. So 1, 8, 27, 64, 125 are all cube numbers, and it goes on forever. And this question's asked us to find all the odd, or an odd, cube number that is smaller than 100. So it has to be odd, so that gets rid of the 8 and the 64, and it has to be smaller than 100, so that gets rid of the 125. So I can either write down 1 would be a fine answer, or 27. I'm going to go for 1. For this question, it's really important that we understand what the words sum and product mean. Now, sum just means add, and product just means times. So we're going to start by adding the 5 and the 4. So that will equal 9. And then what we're going to do is find the product of 9 and 7. So we're going to multiply them together. 9 times 7, which is 63. So our answer is 63. To find the factors of 30, we're just going to write down all the factor pairs, or all the pairs of numbers that multiply together to make 30. So 1 times 30 is 30, 2 times 15, 3 times 10. Now 4 doesn't go because 30 is not in the 4 times table. 5 times 6, and we notice that if we pick 6, it's just going to be 6 times 5, it's just going to be the opposite. So the factors are all the numbers that we've just written down, so it would be 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 10, 15, and 30. In this question, we're given 13 lots of x, and we're adding 7 lots of x to it. So if we have 13 lots of x, and we're adding 7 lots of x, we're going to have 20 lots of x, or 20x. A comparative bar chart is where you have 2 bars next to each other meaning different things. So it's probably easier just to start drawing it, and then we can talk about it as we go along. So we've got males here at 12, and so what we want to do is a bar that is 12 high, and these are going up in 2s, so it will be up here. There we go. And then right next to it, we're going to do females, which is 14. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make this go up to 14. And there we go. Now, we need to be able to tell these apart, so what I'm going to do is just shade in the females. And we should do a little key. And we say that if they're not shaded, it's males. And if they're shaded, that is females. Okay, let's carry on with the bar chart. So it's 14 and 6. So notice I've got gaps between the pairs. So we've got 14 and 6, which will be down here. And again, we're just going to shade in the females. And then finally, we've got 8 and 16. So 8 would be here. And 16 would be up here. And finally, obviously, we're going to shade in the females. So the key says that a circle represents 8 DVDs, and we're told that on Thursday there are 18 DVDs. So we need to rewrite 18 in kind of lots of 8. So that would be an 8 plus 8, which is 16, plus a 2. So we know it will be 2 full circles. So let's get those 2 full circles in. And that will represent 16. But how do we represent 2? Well, if you think about it, if we cut this up into quarters, each quarter will represent 2. So 2, 4, 6, and 8. So we just need another quarter. And so that would be 8 for the first one, 8 for the second one, and then this little quarter will represent 2, which altogether is 18. The first piece of information I'm going to focus on is the fact Denver gets 8/19. Denver gets 8/19, that means that Engel and Fido together must get 11/19 because they have to add up to 1. So we're only looking at 11/19. I'm going to focus on the ratio next of Engel to Fido. So it's 9 to 5. And let's have a look and see, well, first of all, how many parts there are all together. So 9 plus 5, which is 14 parts. So there are 14 parts in total, and the share that they get is 11/19. So what I'm going to do is find out what fraction one of those parts is worth by dividing 11/19 by 14. So each part is worth, and I'm just going to keep this into my calculator, 0.041 blah blah blah. And we're asked to find Fido's share. Well, Fido has 5 parts. So Fido has 5 parts, each of them worth 0.041 blah blah blah. I've kept it in my calculator to keep the accuracy. And when I do that, I get 0.206 blah blah blah. Now we're asked to work it out as a percent. So I'm just going to times that by 100. So we have 20.676 blah 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 percent, and it wants it rounded to the nearest percent, so that would be 20%. Or actually it would be 21%, because this would round it up, so 21%. So we're asked to reflect this shape along the line y equals x, and y equals x is a diagonal line where all the x values are equal to the y values. So at the bottom here we've got x is 10 and y is 10, so that coordinate would be 10, 10. And then obviously this coordinate 4, 4, etc. So we need to reflect it across this line. And so if I pick a point, I'm going to pick the top one. We can see it goes 4 diagonals to hit that line. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So it will go another 4 diagonals. So that will be one of the coordinates there. And I'm going to do the same with the bottom one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 diagonals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 diagonals. So it will be there. And then finally, I'm I'm going to do this slightly harder one. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Kind of goes over the other one, ends up here. So if we join these up, and we need to label it B. So the pass mark for the test is here, and we can see that there are 2 students who passed the test. So it's 2 students out of 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in total. And we want this as a percentage, so we're going to times it by 100%. So we do 2 over 7 times 100, and that gives us 28.571, blah, blah, blah. And it says it wants it to the nearest percent, so that will be 29%. To find average speed, we need to do the total distance and then all we need to do is divide that by the total time. So in this question, the 2 distances are 90 kilometers and 63 kilometers. So we need to do 90 plus the 63 and divide that by the total time. So that's the 5 hours plus the 4 hours. And so that would be 153 divided by 9, which will give us 17. So the answer will be 17. The distance is in kilometers and the time is in hours, so it'd be 17 kilometers per hour. Initially this question looks a bit daunting, but there's a really nice formula that we can use to work out what the answer is. And that formula is that the exterior angle is 360 divided by the amount of sides, because all the exterior angles will add up to 360. So we know there are 16 sides on this polygon, so we do 360 divided by 16, which is 22.5. So each angle would be 22.5 degrees. All probabilities have to add up to 1. And so the probability it will rain tomorrow is 0.15, and so the probability it won't rain is 1 minus 0.15, which will be 0.85. Rate is always something over time. So in this question, we can write a quick formula of rate is volume, like released from the water bottle, over time. Now we can rearrange that so that we have, because we're looking for the amount of water or the volume of the water, we can just rearrange it so that we have volume equals rate times time. Now it says the rate is 62 milliliters per second, so we've got 62 in there. The time is 11 seconds. So we just do 62 times 11, which is 682 seconds. Not seconds, milliliters, because it's volume. So 682 is our answer. A plan is a view that you would get if you were on top of the shape. So you were in an airplane or something looking down on the shape. So the sides of this that we'll see, well, we'd see this bit here, and we would see this bit here. So I'm going to start off with the first bit I shaded, and we've got to figure out what the different lengths will be. Well, this would be 2 centimeters across, and the whole thing is 8 centimeters. The bit we don't want is 3 centimeters, so this part here will be 5. It would look like it was 5 wide. So let's draw that on, and so we've got 2 centimeters down, and we've got 5 across. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is what it would look like from above. Now the other part will be same 2 centimeters, but it will be 3 centimeters across. So we have 3 centimeters across. Now, whenever you have a join or a change in elevation, you need to show that with a line across. And so this will be our completed answer. The experimental probability is the successful outcomes divided by the total number of outcomes. So we're looking for the probability that it's white. So it's going to be 25 over, and we're just going to do 35 plus 25 plus 31, which is 91. And that's our probability, 25 over 91. Be careful when it's say total, you must include all of the outcomes, so red, white, and other. So if we imagine we've got the 25 meter pipe here, and we've got the 35 meter pipe here. The question's basically asking us, what can we cut all these pipes into, and they all have to be the same length, that will fit with the 25 meter and the 35 meter. And essentially what this question is asking is, what is the highest common factor of 25 and 35? So to find the highest common factor, what we do is we just find the factors of 25, which is 1 and 25 and 5 and 5, and the factors of 35, which will be 1 and 35 and 5 and 7. And the highest common factor is the number in both lists, the highest number in both lists, so it's 5. So what we can do is we can cut all of these pipes into 5 meter pipes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, not to scale, and then 7 of these. So 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and so there's 7 in total. So each of these are 5 meter long, and there's no wastage. And that's the longest we can make the pipes for there to be no wastage at all. So my answer is 5 meters. So to find the area of a rectangle, we do length times the width. So here, to find the area, we will do the 10 times the whole of the 10t plus 4. And to show that we're doing the whole of it, we put it in brackets. So a different way of writing that is 10 brackets 10t plus 4. And whichever method you use to expand brackets, feel free to do it here. I'm going to just do the grid method, but whatever method you prefer. Actually, I don't need the, I've done too many here. Let's get rid of that. So we've got 10 times 10t plus 4. So and we're timesing them, so 10 times 10t, 10 times 10 is 100, so it'd be 100t, 10 times 4 is 40. So our answer will be 100t plus 40. I'm going to start this question by writing down what we know. So we know that the toy car initially is travelling at 12 meters per second. So the u is going to be 12 meters per second. It then accelerates at 5 meters per second squared. So we've got an acceleration. And it's for 13 seconds, so that's the time. And we're asked to find the displacement. Now, displacement is just a fancy way of saying distance, but it's a vector distance. So we need to look at the formulae at the top and figure out which one we're going to use. We'll notice we don't have a v at all in this question, so we'll cross out the ones that involve a v, and that leaves the middle one. So let's write that out. S equals ut plus half at squared. Now we're looking for S, and U is 12 and T is 13. So 12 times 13 plus half times the A, which is 5, times 13 squared. Put that into a calculator and you get 578.5. So it's going to be 578.5 meters. The formula for an exterior angle for a regular polygon is 360 divided by the amount of sides. Now here we're given the fact that the exterior angle is 30 and we're looking for n, so we just need to rearrange the equation. We can times both sides by n. And then divide both sides by 30. And so we've got n equals 360 divided by 30. And when you do 360 divided by 30, we get the answer of 12. So it's a 12-sided shape. So if 2 people liked action but not comedy films, and in total 11 liked action films, therefore there's going to be 9 who also liked comedy, because these two have to add up to 11. Now if there's 9 who liked action and comedy, and 16 who liked comedy in total, if we do 16 take away the 9, that leaves 7. So 7 only liked comedy. It says there's 23 people altogether, so what we're going to do is take away the people who liked action, the people who liked both, and the people who liked comedy. Take all those away from 23, and we're left with 5. So the answers are going to be 9, 7, and 5. So the only way of answering this question is to work out what these are as ordinary numbers. And so 7 times 10 to the power of 7 would be 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And 9 times 10 to the power of 4 would be 90,000. So that would be 9, 0, 0, 0, 0. And so we're just subtracting them like that. And so we'll get 6, 9, 9, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0. And obviously if this is on the calculator paper, just type it into your calculator. There are no tricks here. You can't do anything with the 7 and the 9. You're not subtracting powers or anything. You're just literally typing in what it says. And there's a button on the calculator like that that you will need to use. So if you don't know what that is, ask your teacher or ask someone to help you out with that. So to find the gradient, we need the formula or the equation in the form y equals mx plus c. And the m there will give us what the gradient is. So we're just going to be rearranging this equation. And so I'll get my lines in. So the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of the x's from the left hand side, and we can do that by adding 6x both sides. So we've got 6y equals, and I'm going to put the 6x first, just to match the y equals mx plus c. Right, the next thing I'm going to do is get rid of this 6, because we just want a y there. So we're going to divide by 6 both sides. So we've got y equals 1x plus 36. Now we shouldn't really write 1, but because we're looking for m, we're looking for the number before x, I've kind of left it in there to show that the gradient will be 1. So it's really important, first of all, we make clear about how we convert things. So if I've got a unit in kilometers and I want to convert it into meters, then we know we just times it by 1,000. So 2 kilometers is 2,000 meters. But if I have something in kilometers squared and I want to convert it into meters squared, I actually times it by 1,000 squared, which is 1,000 times 1,000. Okay, so I'm actually timesing it by not 1,000, but 1,000 squared. So that's another 3 zeros. You can see here that that's a million. So we times it by 1,000,000. So 13 kilometers squared is going to be the 13, and then it's going to be times by 1,000,000. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So it's going to be 13 million. Now, it says here the farmer must pay 1 pence tax for every metre squared. So this is going to be 13 million metres squared. And so that's going to cost him or her 13 million pence. but the answer is going to be in pounds, so we just need to get rid of 2 of the zeros at the end. So it's going to be 13, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going to be £130,000. There is quite an easy way of doing this question, but I'm going to show you the long way and then we're going to work out what the quicker way is. So I'm going to pair up the A and the 1, which it suggests in the question. Then I'm going to work out the A and the 2 as a different combination, A3, A4, etc. Then I'm going to look at the B and do the same thing, B1, B2, B3, etc. Then I'm going to work out the C, so all the combinations with C. So how many combinations are there with A? Well, there's going to be 7 because there's 7 numbers. How many with B? Well, there's also going to be 7. And how many with C? Well, there's also going to be 7. So in total, there's going to be 7 plus 7 plus 7, which is 21. And the way I can work that out easily is work out how many combinations there are with spinner 1. Well, there's 3. How many combinations there are with spinner 2? 7. And we just times the 2 together. 3 times 7 is 21. Integer just means whole number, so we're looking for all the whole numbers that satisfy these 2 inequalities. Well, the first inequality says that it has to be greater than 3. So the smallest number that is greater than 3 is 4. The second inequality says it has to be less than or equal to 8. So I'm just going to keep going until I get to a number that is less than or equal to 8. It can't be 9 because 9 is not less than or equal to 8. So our answer is 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. I'm going to start by expanding these brackets. You could have divided both sides by 2 and then expanded the brackets on the left, but I'm just going to expand them all because it might be maybe easier, I don't know. So we've got 2x minus 44. Get our lines in because we're solving. And the rule is that we get rid of the smaller amount of x. So we've got 2x here and 12x on the other side. So we're going to subtract the 2x from both sides. And so that'll give us 10x minus 84 is less than minus 44. So we've got minus 44 there, but that won't be a problem because we're going to add 84 to both sides. And so we've got 10x is less than 40. And then we're going to divide 10 both sides to get what x is, or what x is less than, and that would be 4. So our answer is x is less than 4. There's a lot going on with this question, so I'm going to start off just having a look at the total amount of money. So I'm going to do this in pence, so 2,115 pence. And if each merit point is worth 3 pence, then we can work out the amount of merit points by doing 2,115 divided by 3. So that gives us 705. So there's 705 merit points. Next, have a look at the question here, this part here, where it says James has X merit points. Sarah has 4 times as many points as James, so she's going to have 4x. Robert has 69 fewer merit points than James, so he's going to have x minus 69. And we know that that equals 705 because we've just worked that out. And this feels like a solving coming on. So we've got x plus 4x plus x, which is 6x. Minus 69 equals 705. And we're going to add 69 to both sides. So we've got 6x equals 774. Then we're going to divide 6 both sides. And so we've got x equals 129. So x equals 129. That means James has 129. Sarah has 4 times more, so she will have 516. And Robert has 69 fewer, so we're going to take 69 away from that, and that will equal 60. To divide mixed numbers, we need to convert them to improper fractions first. And to do that, we just do the big number times by the bottom and add it to the top. So 2 times 5, which is 10, and add it to the top, which will be 13 over 5. And the bottom, the denominator stays the same. Divided by, and we're going to do 1 times 2, which is 2, add to the top, and we get 3. So it becomes 3 over 2. Then we're going to keep the first fraction, flip the second fraction, and change the sign. So it becomes 13 over 5 times, and then we're going to flip that, so it's going to be 2 over 3, times the tops would be 26, times the bottom, which would be 15. Now 26 over 15, there are 1/15s that go into 26, so that would be a big 1, and that leaves a remainder of 11, so it would be 11 over 15. So our answer would be 1 and 11 over 15. To find the area of a quarter circle, we first of all just assume that the circle is whole, and we work out the area that it would be if it was a full circle. So the area is pi times r squared. The radius will be this distance here, which is between the centre and the circumference of the circle. So it's going to be pi times 22 squared. And when you do that on the calculator, you get 1520.530 blah blah blah. I'm going to keep that into my calculator because we don't have a full circle, we only have a quarter of a circle. So if we're looking for a quarter of a circle, what we want to do is we want to divide that area by 4. So the area of the quarter circle is going to be the 1520.530 blah 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 divided by 4. So you keep it in your calculator from before and just type in divided by 4, and we get 380.132 blah blah blah. It says it wants it to 2 decimal places, so we're just going to round that to 380.13. So factorise means to put it into a bracket, and it looks like it's a quadratic here, but it's actually just a linear factorising because we don't have a number term. So we're going to just use one bracket for this. And looking at these terms, I'm going to focus first on the numbers. So 20 and 30, I can divide both of those by 10, and that will leave 2 and 3. So that's the numbers done. Next I'm looking at the t terms. So we've got t squared there and a t there. So we can divide out a t, but that will leave a t on the first term. And finally I'm going to look at the u, and there's just a u on both of them I can factorise out, and actually that just leaves nothing on the inside of the bracket. Now always when you do this, expand the bracket to check if you've made any mistakes. So I'm going to do smiles and rainbows. There's loads of different methods. So 10 times 2 is 20, t times t is t squared, and then the u, plus 10 times 3 is 30, times t times u. So we know we've got the right answer. So our answer is 10tu brackets 2t plus 3. So the formula we need here is that the sum of the interior angles is equal to the amount of sides, take away 2, times 180. So we know that the sum of the interior angles is 2160, and we're looking for what n is. So we're going to do a bit of solving. Not too difficult. We're going to divide by 180 both sides, and that will give us 12, and then we're going to add 2 both sides, and that would be 14. So the amount of sides is 14. This question seems a lot harder than it is. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start by rewriting the prime factors, but without the squared. So 2 times 3 times 3 times 5 times 5. I'm going to do the same with the other list as well. So 2 times 2 times 3 times 11. Now I'm going to put these into a Venn diagram, and so I'm just going to draw out a Venn diagram and get my two circles, because we're going to have the 450 and the 132. So 450 is on the left hand side and 132 is on the right hand side, and we're going to start just filling out the Venn diagram. So they both have a 2 in them and they both have a 3, but 450 has a 3, a 5 and a 5, and 132 has that 2 and the 11. Now to find the lowest common multiple, what you do is you just multiply all these numbers together, and that will give you the lowest common multiple. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 3 times 5 times 5, which are the numbers on the left, times 2 times 3, which are the numbers in the middle, times 2 times 11. And when we do that, we get 9,900, and that's it. So our answer is 9,900. To rearrange this, I'm just going to write out the equation again, and I'm going to put my lines in. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is try and make the x positive, because we're looking to make x the subject of the formula, which means we need it to be x equals. So what I'm going to do is just add x both sides. So we've got x plus m equals 10. Then we want to get rid of anything on the left hand side that's not this x. So we want to get rid of this plus m. So we're going to do that by subtracting m both sides. So we've got x equals 10 minus m. So our answer is 10 minus m. X equals 10 minus m. There's a very specific way to draw an angle bisector, and you start off with a pair of compasses and put the point on B, and then draw an arc from B. And it doesn't matter what the distance is, as long as it's kind of roughly maybe halfway between A and B. But it doesn't matter what the distance is. And then at the 2 points, so here and here, that our arc intersects line AB and BC, we're going to draw another arc up here. So I'm just going to show you, because it's normally easier. So an arc over here, and I'm going to do an arc from the other one over here. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to join where the two lines join with where the two arcs join. And that is how you do an angle bisector. All of the arcs leave on the diagram because they are going to get you the marks. Arcs for marks. When something is squared, you times it by itself. So another way of writing this is 6x to the power of 7 times 6x to the power of 7. The 6's can go together, and the x to the power of 7's can go together. And 6 times 6 is 36. And x to the power of 7 times x to the power of 7. When you times powers, you add them. So 7 plus 7 is 14. Something else you could have done is just squared the 6 to make 36. And one of the rules is that if you have a power on the inside of a bracket and a power on the outside of the bracket, you multiply them. So 7 times 2 is 14. The formula for the area of a circle is area equals pi times r squared. Now in this question we're given what the area is, which is 706.86. And we need to find out what the radius is. So I'm going to get my lines in. And I'm going to start by getting rid of that times pi. So I'm going to divide both sides by pi and get the r squared on its own. So when I divide that by pi, I get 225.000 blah blah blah. Very close to 225. Then I want to get rid of this squared here. So to do that, I do the inverse, which is square root. And square root of 225 is 15, and the square root of 225.000 blah blah blah, whatever was in our calculator, is going to be 15.000, etc. so pretty much 15. 0.000, but it says it wants it to the nearest integer. Integer is a whole number, so my answer would be just 15. So let's just write out this sequence. So first thing we're going to do is work out what the sequence is going up in, and we can see here that we're adding 15 each time in our sequence. And whatever the sequence is going up in is what goes before n, so it's going to be 15n. Now 15n would give us the 15 times table, and this isn't the 15 times table. So to work out what the offset is, we go and find our 0th term. So instead of adding 15, when we go backwards, we're going to take away 15. And so that would be 10. And so our answer is going to be 15n, and we're going to add that 10 on. So the first thing I notice is the second equation isn't really in the normal format for doing simultaneous equations. So I'm just going to rearrange it so that we have it where we want it to be. And I'm just going to put my lines in so I can rearrange. So the first thing I want is the x's and y's on the same side. In fact, actually all I need to do is take away 4y from both sides, and we get 5x minus 4y equals minus 7. Okay, so what we do now is we put both our equations down so we can solve these simultaneously. So 5x minus 4y equals minus 7. And you notice the coefficient of the y is already the same, so we don't need to multiply anything. But the signs are different, and the d in different is the d in add. So we're going to add going downwards. So we're going to add everything. So we're doing 3x plus 5x, which is 8x. 4y plus minus 4y is nothing, which is good, because we want to get rid of that. And 47 take away 7 is 40. All right. Let's put our solving lines in, and we're going to divide by 8 both sides. So we get x equals 5, and we're going to substitute that value into one of the equations. I'm going to pick this top one. So instead of 3x, we're doing 3 times 5 plus 4y equals 47. Get my solving lines in. So that will be 15 plus 4y equals 47, and then we're going to take away the 15 both sides, and so it's 4y equals 47 take away 15, which is 32. Divide by 4 both sides, and we get y equals 8. Now we can check that using this equation here. So 5 times 5 is 25, take away 4 times 8, which is 32, is minus 7. So we know we've got it right. When it's said that y is inversely proportional to x, it means that y changes as 1 over x changes. And to write this in an equation, all we do is we just write y equals k over x. Now k is something we need to find. So what we need to do is find out what a value of y and a value of x are somewhere on the graph that would be formed from this, and we've got that in this question. So we know that when y is 7, then x is going to be 7.9. And what I need to do now is just draw my lines down. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just times both sides by 7.9. And so we have k equals, and it'd be 7 times 7.9, which is 55.3. So we know that k is 55.3. So I'm just going to rewrite this equation here, or this formula here. But instead of k, I know that it's going to be 55.3. So our answer is y equals 55.3 over x. With these questions, it's normally easier to view these as two separate triangles. So we've got a small triangle here with 19 and 47. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move this out. And we've got a bigger triangle here. And we've got, well, we've got a bit of, we don't really know what any of the sides are just yet, but we can work them out. Okay, now we know that both of these triangles are similar, and the reason is they share an angle and the lengths at the bottom are parallel, so they will be similar, which means one's an enlargement of the other. And we are given some information in the question that the ratio of BC to DE is 1 to 6. So BC is this length here, and DE is this length here. So we're actually given the scale factor because we know that 1 times 6 is 6. So we know the scale factor is 6, and it's asking us to find length AD. And so the corresponding length to AD, which is this one here. So all we need to do is get that 47, times it by the scale factor, so times it by 6 to get to our value. So it's 282. So we're going to first of all look at the starting section. So we've got the probability of a blue being picked from bag 1 is 7 over 11. So the probability for blue and red must equal 1. So what do we add to 7 to get to 11? Well, we add 4, and so it would be 4 over 11. So these two here must add up to 11 over 11, which is 1. Looking at the next section, we've got 11 over 15 chance of picking a blue. So what's the probability of picking a red? Again, 11 over 15 plus the probability of a red must equal 1. So that's going to be 4 over 15. 4 over 15 plus 11 over 15 is 1. And we've got the final section down here. Now, this final section, we haven't got any fractions for, but bag 2 is independent of bag 1. So bag 2 is just sitting there ready to be picked after we pick bag 1. So the probability is going to be exactly the same as the ones at the top. So we need to first of all work out how many black and red counters there are at the start. Now if you look at the fraction of the probability of picking a black, in your first pick is 2 over 5, and then the second pick is 1 over 4. So you can see that there's one less at the numerator and then one less overall. So that means we can conclude that there are 2 blacks at the start, 2 black counters, and if there are 2 black counters and there's only black and red counters, then there must be 3 red counters, so that to make up the fact that it's 2 over 5. Okay, so to find the missing probabilities, the first couple are quite simple because we know that, let's do a different colour, this and this have to add up to 1. And so if the probability of picking a black there is 1/4, then the probability of picking a red must be 3 over 4, because these have to add up to 1. Same with these two, these have to add up to 1. So if we've got 2/5 at the top, the bottom one must be 3/5. And finally, we've got these two here. Now these two here we're not given any fractions for, but given the fact that we started with 2 black and 3 red, we've picked one of the red, so we've got 1 less red, and that means we've got 2 black counters and 2 red counters. So it means that the probability of picking a black is 2 over 4, or 1/2, and the probability of picking a red is 2 over 4, or 1/2. So we need to first of all work out what the length of the side of the square is. And to do that, what we do is we get the 44v to the power 4, w to the power 5, and we just divide it by 4. And to do that, all we need to do is just divide the coefficient by 4. So it'd be 11v to the power 4, w to the power 5. Some people will try and do something with the v to the power 4, w to the power 5, but if you think about it, if if I just draw out my square, if it's 11v to the power 4, w to the power 5 all the way around, when you add, you don't add the v to the power 4, w to the power 5. It's just going to be 11 lots, another 11 lot, another lot of 11, and another lot of 11. So it's 44 v to the power 4, w to the power 5 in total. And to work out what the area is, we obviously are going to square that. So we're going to do 11 v to the power 4, w to the power 5, and we're going to just times it by itself, which is what squaring means. Okay, so we're going to times the 11s together, so that's going to be 121. Going to times the v to the power 4s together, and remember with indices, if you times two powers of the same base, and they're both v, then we just add the powers together, so that'd be 8. And we're going to add the w to the power 5s together, so that makes 10. So it's 121 v to the power of 8, w to the power of 10. So the angle of elevation is when you are looking horizontally, like here. It's the angle that you have to look up to see something, so that castle. So this is the angle of elevation here, which I'm just going to call x. And we've got a right angle triangle here where we have two lengths and we're looking for an angle, so we're going to be using trigonometry. So we're just going to label this up. So we've got the opposite here, adjacent to here. We don't need the hypotenuse at all, so get rid of that. Let's just put our SOHCAHTOA in. So we've crossed out the hypotenuse, so it won't be sine or cos, it will be tan. So it will be tan x is equal to the opposite, which is 49 over 98. Get our lines in. And we're going to do the inverse tan of both sides. And so the inverse tan of 49 over 98 is 26.565, etc. And it says it wants the nearest whole number, so that will be 27 degrees. The surface area of a sphere is found with the formula 4 pi r squared, with r being the radius of the sphere. So we're going to do 4 times pi times the 20, and that gives us 5026.548 blah blah blah. And when we round that to two decimal places, we get 5026.55 centimeters squared. So there are three parts that we need to find the area of. We're going to start with the easiest bit first, this circle at the bottom here. Okay, so the circle area is just going to be pi times r squared, and the radius is given to us at the top, which is 9, so it's just going to be pi times 9 squared, and that would be 254.469 blah blah blah. Well, we could leave it as 81 pi. Next bit is the curved bit of the cylinder. So we're going to do the cylinder next. And it's just the curved bit, and the formula for that is 2 pi r h. So 2 times pi times the radius, which is 9, times the height, which is 30. And that will give us 1696.460 blah blah blah. And the last bit is this hemisphere here. And so let's do the hemisphere. And the formula for the area of a hemisphere, well, this full sphere is 4 times pi times r squared, but because it's a hemisphere, it's half of that. And so it'd be half times 4 times pi times the 9 squared, and that will give us 508.938. And so the final thing is to work out the total area. so total surface area, and we're just going to add up all these numbers together. So we add up the 254.469, the 1696.460, blah blah blah, and the 508.938, blah 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 blah, and we get 2459.867, blah blah blah. Do make sure you show the examiner that you're adding these three here. I've not done that because it would waste a bit of time for a video, but make sure you write it down. It says it wants it to 2 decimal places, so that will be 2459.87 centimeters squared. It doesn't look like it, but we actually have a quadratic here, and the reason it doesn't look like it is because we don't have an x term, but as long as we have an x squared term and a number term, we definitely have a quadratic. And notice something about this second number. It's a negative version of a square number, and that will always be the case because this question is using something called difference of two squareds. And it's very, very simple to work out. What you do is you put down two sets of brackets and you square root the first term. Well, that's just going to be x. And you put the positive and negative versions of the square root. So we're going to square root 121, which is 11. So we're going to put plus 11 and minus 11, and that's it. Now, when we expand that, and we're just going to quickly expand that now to have a look, it's going to be x squared plus 11x minus 11x minus 121. And notice that the two x terms cancel each other out, which is why we don't have the x terms. So we're told these triangles are similar, which means there's a scale factor between them. So we've got two corresponding lengths here and here. So we've got to work out what we times the 22 by to get to the 99. So we do 99 divided by 22, and that's 4.5. So we know we times this by 4.5. And so we do the same with the 35. So we times that by 4.5, because that's our scale factor. And 35 times 4.5 is 157.5. You can complete a unique version of this paper by going to our onmaths site. Onmaths is full of free content to help you prepare for your exams, such as topic-based papers, theme and questions, and mini mocks. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing.